Don't you boys want to be in the camera? Look, you're in the picture show. Hello, you beautiful people! David here, or Sin City Yeti, or just Yeti, whichever you prefer, and today I'm going to show you some old art. So, what do I mean by this? Well, this is a painting I did last year, actually. It was a commission, but some tragedy hit in the middle of making this painting, and I actually had it sitting off to the side for a couple months because I couldn't even look at it. There's another painting that is currently suffering through that I am going to be pushing through by the end of this month. So, like, it's not fair to the painting. It's not fair to the person the painting's for. I need to try to get over my art block. It's not their fault if this is something on me. So, I don't know. Do you suffer from like art block for just specific paintings? I have a couple that I actually have art block for, but they're not for anybody. They're like myself, personal paintings, so I don't really care. They're just under the bed hiding away. I have one that I actively need to work on to send out. It is for somebody, and blah. My brain doesn't want to work with it, so I don't know why I'm going off on that tangent. Oh, I'm going off on that tangent because the painting I'm currently working on suffered through that, and it kind of waited months before I could finish it and get it sent out. So you're probably wondering, well, what is this tragedy? Well, if you remember my painted rock videos, I think it was my second painted rock video. I'm going to link it down below for you if you want to go give that a watch. But in that video, I did a commemorative rock for Dilly and Dally, the two little mourning doves. This is the painting I literally got them rescued. I had finished one painting, and that day that I finished it, I had rescued them. And then the next day I started this painting. So like, they were there for over half of this painting's completion, and then they were gone. And it made it really hard to work on that painting. And I'm sure some of you have suffered through something like that, where like you're working on something and then tragedy happens and then you can't work on it. I don't want to hide this painting. I loved Dilly and Dally, and I think I could share that love that I have for them with you and share the painting that I made while they were in my life. So I guess that covers everything that I need to. So enough of my face. Let's go see Dilly and Dally first. And here are the little cuties. This is shortly after I rescued them when they were covered in ants and being eaten alive, and I'd cleaned them up, cleaned up their nest. I was hoping their mom or their dad would come back for them, but they didn't after I rescued them, so I ended up taking them in, and they just look so cute. They're so tiny, just adorable little muffins. I absolutely loved them. I still love them, and I miss them dearly. I had set up their nest so it was right next to my art stuff, so while I was painting, I could keep an eye on them, make sure they're taken care of, feed them when they needed to get fed. I wish I had more time with them, and while it was hard to go through this footage, I think this is a wonderful way to just kind of celebrate these little birdies and the time I got to spend with them. So now getting on to the painting. So of course we got to start with the base coat, and I wanted it to be like a nighttime scene, so I'm going in with some really dark blues, like a cerulean blue mixed with Payne's gray and black. And since it's gonna be an impressionistic style painting, I'm gonna be going in with those brush strokes to create the sky that I want, the swirls.
I like the swirl.
Going in with a little bit lighter blues, a little bit darker blues, more blacks, more grays, and lightening up the blues, just all sorts of color variation with the brush strokes to create the flow and the swirls that I want in the sky. This is one of my favorite techniques to paint, just because it's so much fun. It is a little time consuming, but the effect that you get afterwards, I just love it. It really adds a little bit of magic into the sky, and it just really gives it that nice painterly quality. I just freaking love this.
And I just love it.
And because I thought it was a little too bright, I decided to do like a purple wash over it, and that sealed it for me. I absolutely love this. Touched up a few of the little brush strokes, and then I went in with the landscape. So I started with the furthest thing away, which was the sky, and I'm just coming in closer. So the background feels like it's got some dimension. I feel like it just makes it super easy for me to like add in all the dimension that I really want to add in. And then same thing with the landscape. So of course, I'm pretty sure you could kind of figure out now what this painting is going to be, because that's a pretty iconic hill.
What is this?
But this impressionistic style just really, there's something that just pairs so well with Tim Burton's style and this impressionistic style. And if you haven't figured it out yet, this painting's gonna be based off of Nightmare Before Christmas. So as I'm building in this landscape, the reason that I made this painting was because my aunt wanted it. So she had reached out to me and had told me that she knows that I'm an artist. I had actually made her a painting for my cousin when she had passed away. I did a portrait of her. It's some of my earlier work. There's things I would change about it now, but I was still really happy with it. I felt like it just honored my cousin Jennifer quite well when she had passed. She was probably the cousin I was the closest with. But then my aunt, since she knew like I was an artist, Nightmare Before Christmas is one of her favorite movies. She asked if I would do a Nightmare Before Christmas painting. Took me a little while to get this one done just because when I started this painting, you can see I had Dilly and Dally. You guys just finished eating, why are you fighting? Do I need to sing the song for you? They ended up passing while I was in the middle of this painting, so it ended up needing to go on the back burner, but here they are. I just... Look at you guys. You're so pretty. You're so pretty. Yeah, really. Really, really. I miss them so much. Back into this painting now. So I'm getting it ready for where I do want to place some stuff. So I kind of had an idea of the way that I wanted to go, but I'm also like kind of creating it as I go. Just using a lot of references from the movie and figuring out like the right color choices and how everything was supposed to lay together. This is how I would have them sit next to me while I was painting. They would just kind of sit there, do their little thing, because I needed to keep them close, make sure nothing happened to them, and then when they were hungry, I could feed them. So this was just the perfect little setup. Now, if you know anything about the movie, you are very aware, like this hill and this landscape is the cemetery. So I needed to start adding in the cemetery elements to it because I kind of got the hills in. There is dimension to the hills. So I felt like it was the right time now I could start adding in like different features of the cemetery. Here I'm going in with the gate and I'm getting the pillars set up, trying to figure out where it's gonna all sit. Also adding the different elements to the sky, doing the iconic stars and the moon. And for the stars, because there's not a lot of variation between yellow and white, they're really similar in values. I did try to like darken up and add a little bit more gold to some of the yellows than with the whites. And I just kind of added in about 4 different shades of yellow and white to kind of give them dimension.
It'll help give the drawing more volume and depth.
Because I'm adding in this fence, I wanted to add in the different elements to the graveyard first, just so like I'm not trying to paint around bars in this fence. So I got all of the tombstones put in, adding in this the fence. So this was actually kind of fun and very relaxing just because of the style of Tim Burton. Everything's kind of cattywampus all the time.
Cattywampus, Plankton.
Just got like this crooked look to it. So like I didn't have to worry about being too straight, which...
What? I could be straight?
Anyways, it just makes it so much easier when there's already kind of like this established aesthetic and it's not perfect. Made it so much easier. I didn't have to worry too much about like spacing and measuring it all out. I love it when things work out like that. And then we're gonna go on to the top of this gate. So this is the only thing that I feel like I should have changed, but because I didn't plan it out, I wasn't thinking ahead. I was going with how I felt in the moment. I needed to add the top of the gate. So there's like this wrought iron skull little decoration above the gate. And I ended up putting the moon right where it needed to go. While I kind of wish I hadn't have put the moon there, at the same time, like I do like that it makes the skull stand out a little bit better because the moon is so much lighter than the sky itself. I just wish I would have had it a little bit more up because I could have always separated out the skull by like outlining it in white and making it look like the moonlight was shining on it, but it's part of the process. And I didn't hate it. I actually kind of enjoyed the way that it looked. At the same time, it was just one of those things like, if I had planned it out, I would have changed it. But now that it's happened, I don't hate it. I'm okay with it. Now we're gonna be going in with the highlights and just adding into this like creepy vibe. Light is such an important part of this movie. Maybe it's just like my artist brain looking at it now. It really sets the tone for the movie, the way that the lighting is. There's so much shadow work going on in the movie. And I really wanted to try my best to tap into that. It's a little bit harder because, you know, in the movie they had actual light sources and I'm just using paint. There is a little bit more of a struggle there, but at the same time, you know, it's pushing your skills. This is why I will always encourage artists to break out of your norm to the best of your abilities.
We like to try new things.
There's always something new out there. You just got to look and you got to experiment and you got to try it. You're gonna figure out and refine your style by doing new stuff. And now that we got this far, I'm just gonna show you the little birdies. So, in case you were wondering, this is Dilly. She's the one that's in the bottom. She's bigger. She's got more feathers. She's more developed at this point. Dally is the one that's sitting on top of the perch right over here. He's such a little cutie. Oh, he fell. He did struggle with balance. I kind of noticed the unfortunate thing about runts. They have some developmental issues sometimes just because the mother tended to ignore them. So I was really doing my best to try to give him all the nutrition he needed to help him out. But still such a little cutie. And preening them, this is a very important part. If you have birds or are planning on getting birds, this is a very important bonding step with the birds, is preening them. And then I had found this little flower. I thought it would be cute to make it look like Dilly was wearing a little flower hat. Look at it, she's so cute. And then this is my little Dally. He was so curious and I was trying to teach him to play with toys because I've been around birds my whole life. So just wanted to keep him curious and engaged and have some fun. This is unfortunately one of the last videos I got of him. You could see he still struggled with balance and he really tried. And I just wanted to fill his life with as much love as possible. Going back into the painting now, I wanted to fix up some of the shadows. I didn't like how the hill felt a little weird in the front right here. Felt oddly tall compared to the rest of the hills. So I wanted to fix some of the shadows, also add in the shadowing from the pillar, just help it feel like it actually belonged, like it's not just floating in the middle of nowhere. And then I wanted to add in some elements. So I kind of took some liberties here. There's not a lot of plant life in Halloween Town. I mean, granted, there's the flowers Sally got that turned into the Christmas tree that burned up. So I wanted to kind of play around with that a little bit. And I did take the design of that flower, just made it a little bit more vivid, added in some reds instead of just going with the brown, and a little bit of pink highlights.
Won't they be impressed? I am a genius.
Just kind of help contrast the green that's going on in the background right here. I think it was a good choice. I really like it. It just kind of add in a little bit more of that visual interest. You know, keep the painting interesting. You want to have them feel engaged. Have them feel engaged. Listen to me, sounding like I'm an expert in this stuff. I have never been in a gallery, so, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm just kind of regurgitating what I've been told because I actually haven't experienced this. All my experience is just in creating all that gallery stuff, and I've tried it, just kind of hurts your feelings sometimes because people in the art community can be quite rude and quite mean and discouraging, and they don't even realize it. They're just it's just critique. You can critique the art without making it sound like a personal attack. Now, I didn't just keep him here on the table while I was painting. This is actually one of my favorite things to do with little Miss Dilly. I was working with her so that I could go outside with her. She would sit on my little shoulder. Yeah, she's wearing a little nappy, but I would take her on my walks and she was so curious about the world. I loved seeing how curious she was. Everything interested her. Every little noise, all the little birds and everything out in the world piqued her interest. And I loved that. That was one of my favorite things to do, was take her on my walks with me. And then we would come back and we would get back into painting. They would just sit there and watch me. Dilly was definitely more interested in my painting and like wondering what I was doing and figuring it out, Dally would just sit there, rest a little bit. He didn't have a lot of energy, but you know, he would still sit with me. He didn't try going anywhere as long as I was near. Whenever I would leave, that was when he had to be close to me. So, and getting back to the painting, I needed to add in some more elements. Of course, because it's Halloween Town, I had to add in the jack-o'-lanterns, and we're gonna get their faces done. And yes, oh, I think they look perfect. They definitely have that like Tim Burton vibe. This is around the time I ended up losing Dally. With Dally being the runt, there were health issues that I just was not equipped to deal with. I also could not find a vet that would take him, and everywhere else that I had called for rehabilitation was just kind of like, they're mourning doves, let nature take its course. When I had just rescued them out of a tree, because they were being eaten alive by ants. Like, I didn't want to just let nature take its course. I wanted to give them a fighting chance. I had gone on a walk one day, and unfortunately, when I came back, I had found something had happened. My guess is it was a seizure, and I had to say goodbye to Dally. I was pretty devastated. Runts do have a lot of health issues that shortens their lifespan. However, that did not stop me from giving them my all and working with them. So one of my favorite things was I had gotten Miss Dilly trained with my whistles. I would actually sing, I would whistle the Majora's Mask theme song from the Mask Guy, and that was their feeding time song. So I would whistle it. And as you could see, she would come. I was just the cutest little thing. She knew like, oh, it's food time. Such a little cutie. And you can see like she's getting kind of big, but she had her favorite spots from our walks where she would just like to watch everything. Got the doggies with me and Miss Dilly playing lookout. I actually had even trained her to recognize hawks and eagles. Like she would go into my hoodie and hide. So I had kind of taught her certain calls. I don't think she recognized it was danger, but she was trained and it was fun. And then one of the last videos I got of her discovering her reflection. And she was just so smart, naturally inquisitive, looking and examining herself. This is why I felt like there was something more to her, because she really seemed to recognize her reflection. And I loved that about her. I didn't have very many birds in my life who could recognize their own reflection. And then I had just put the painting away and kind of neglected it, just sitting on my desk, because one day when I had her in the patio, I had gone into the bathroom, and unfortunately, even though I was on the second story, I thought she was safe in the balcony. I had taught her to hide from hawks and eagles because I thought they were the threat. What I should have been worried about were cats. And unfortunately, a neighborhood cat climbed up the side of the wall on the outside of my apartment and then got into the balcony, and before I knew it, she was gone. And I was devastated. I felt like a bad pet parent because I didn't protect her. I know there's not a whole lot I could have done about that situation. I thought I was doing the right thing. You know, I would keep the dogs separated from her, made her a special space where she could forage. She would be happy, and unfortunately, it wasn't. So I tried getting this painting done, and you may have noticed like all of a sudden there's color blocking for where I'm putting different elements. And that was just because I was struggling. Losing them both kind of hit hard. It made me really, really sad to lose them both. They were in my life for such a short period of time, but they had a really big impact. And so I didn't record me color blocking because I was just trying to get the painting done since I needed to send it to my aunt. I wasn't even sure I was going to use this footage just because of how heavily Dilly and Dally were in it, but I don't think that's fair to them. I want to keep their memory more happy and the things that made my heart happy about them. But I ended up getting over it, like getting back into the painting at least. A couple months later, I decided to pick it back up, and I was trying to figure out how I was actually going to do the YouTube stuff. So here I am like doing more weird angles. Some of them work, some of them don't work. The main thing is like this camera angle actually made it very difficult to paint just because of where the camera needed to sit, and it was right on top of the painting. While I think it looks kind of good, it made it so much harder to paint. You know, I was still exploring and experimenting how I was gonna actually paint this stuff because I was getting more in that I should make YouTube videos mindset, which if you're debating whether you should start YouTube videos, start it. Just start.
Well, come on! Go, man!
Your videos are not going to be good. My first videos that I was making that were shorts and reels weren't that good. It's okay. It's a learning experience. You're gonna get better. You just gotta keep doing it. So if you've been debating, take it from somebody who waited years before posting their videos. Just start. There's lots of free programs out there that you can use and experiment with and learn styles and ways you want to record that you like, but just start. And even if nobody watches your videos in the beginning, just keep posting. Your audience will find you. That's how they're gonna find you. Because if you don't let the world know you're here, people don't know you exist. So that's my advice for this video. Just keep posting. You can do it. Now that that tangent is done, you can see that I'm finishing up some of the final details. You might notice something a little wonky, and it was an artistic liberty, which is the bats. Now, they aren't the bats that you would have seen like during any of the songs in Halloween Town. These are the bats that you saw in Oogie Boogie's lair, but they're so stylized and they're so much fun. I just had to include them the way that they are because like they're different. Plus, they stood out from the sky. That was the other reason that I took that liberty. It's just because the other bats were black and they would have just gotten lost in the sky, where these ones are bright yellow. They have a very unique look. So took that liberty, and then I'm just finishing up the rest of the details. I got Zero done. Zero was actually pretty easy to render and get all those details done, and everything's coming together quite beautifully. And
We did it.
I do believe the painting is done. So here it is. All the different elements of the graveyard, the sky, the bats, Zero, and then of course Jack looking up at them. I really love the way that this painting came out. A little bit different, but at the same time, very much so me. I did send it to my aunt. She absolutely loved it. She has it hanging on the wall. It has a special space year-round, so that makes me very happy. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it too. That means it is now time for the final review. And here it is! Right there. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, now, don't hide behind it. Ooh, you can't see me. Anyways. So, it was hard to go through the footage, I'm not gonna lie. Like, made a rock with them on it because they were special little birds. And I really wish I could have extended their life even more. Granted, like, I know I ultimately did extend their lives, it's just it didn't seem fair, and it was hard. Like they were cool little birds. I legitimately loved them, but I did at least create some art with them. Little Miss Dilly and Dally. I know, like they were only in my life for such a short period, but sometimes the universe just, there's wheels already in motion, and I guess we can't change that. But anyways, I don't need to get all like philosophical on you. I really like this painting. I kind of want to do another Nightmare Before Christmas painting. I just like not sure what. Maybe the cemetery on Earth after Jack was delivering the presents and got bombed out of the air. Maybe that scene? I don't know if that's something you want to see in this style. Like, comment below, let me know. Anyways, I do believe that is everything I need to share with you right now. Anyways, I do believe that is it. So, be safe out there. Don't get lost. Don't get stolen. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, you beautiful people.